I'm not usually one for like very seasonal specific crafting. I was just trying to give into maybe a little bit more of that part of myself recently. I've already been doing so much knitting and crochet, and I'm like, well, I really need to start maybe looking at making my own like home decor. I've been seeing that so much more recently, where people are making more sustainable versions like of decorations, things like leaf garlands, orange slice garlands. Over the weekend, I did dry some orange slices. Even when they're dried, they smell so good. I really just went to the store and bought a bag of oranges that looked like they were maybe on the verge of people probably not buying them because they were starting to get a little bit softer. I was really sad that they didn't have any blood oranges. It might not be the season for it, but I've seen other people do blood oranges. So I just went with a bag of just kind of like your regular orange, and then I did buy like a larger Caro orange, just so that I had a little bit of variety, at least in terms of size. I baked these in the oven at like 200 degrees, and I kind of flipped them every 45 minutes to an hour. Some of them turned out really, really well, like this one did here, but I definitely did have some that got a little bit toasty, which I'm still gonna use these because really, who cares? There was only one slice I had to toss because it was taking too long because I accidentally cut it like too thick. But overall, it was a really simple process, and it just smelled like oranges like in my house all day. It was really nice. So now I'm at the point where I'm actually able to turn these into a garland. I made a little stop at Michael's over the weekend as well too, just to like make sure I had some supplies. I grabbed some like jute yarn like this, and then I also grabbed a couple packages of wood beads just so I can, you know, snazz it up just a little bit. But I've got everything I need, and I think I'm gonna get started. Well, that was like way easier than I thought it would be. I was kind of flying by the seat of my pants just a little bit because I didn't really think about how I was going to attach the oranges to the strand, how I was going to hang it up. I kind of just started the project without a plan. But hey, it worked out just fine, and I didn't have to worry about it too much, which is great. I don't know how much you could really tell, but I kind of made some little knots just like where I was dropping the oranges down the twine, and then to help poke it through the orange, I actually used a tapestry needle that because I have like quite a few of them, because you can never just like buy one. Every time you go to a craft store, they're always in like a pack of 4 or 5 or whatever, and I just use those to push through the orange slices, and it just ended up working perfectly. I think it looks super cute, especially underneath like the dried flowers and the little kitchen window there. I am not gonna lie, I'm like a little bit more tired today than I thought I would be. I'm gonna like chill out and just like hang out for like an hour, and then I think I'm gonna bust into some junk journaling. I'm so glad that I made some time to add a project into my project journal. Here's the way that it turned out. I love the way it came out. I have done a really nice job, I think, of finding a very simple style that works for my project journal, that allows me to junk journal and like get creative with it, but also isn't overwhelming to myself the way I kind of some of like my other just regular junk journaling is, like for my memories or whatever. And I love that I've been keeping a little spot for myself to write some notes for the future. One thing that I wish I would have thought about a little bit more when it came to this project journal is between each project, I wish I would have left a page or 2 blank in my journal. That way, if there's any overflow of notes, so here's a good example of this, where like here's my filet crochet sword that I made. And then when you turn the page, it just goes right into the next project. And that's honestly how this entire journal goes. I do wish I would have maybe had like a whole blank section between each one. And I didn't think about that. Mostly wanted to do that just in case I run into any issues where like I have to write a bunch of notes, you know? But I guess that's just gonna depend on each project. Like maybe a lot of the projects I have done so far haven't needed like a lot of notes written on it, but I think whenever I actually finish like my stripe overload cardigan, for example, that I will probably need a whole section of pages afterwards to write a bunch of notes for myself. So far, I haven't really repeated a pattern, but I always want to give myself a bunch of notes and options and give myself space in case I did. I have kind of done a lot today, and it is 5:30. I have about 30 minutes before I start stream, so I'm gonna take just like the next 30 minutes to relax, unwind for a second. Really nice quick little visit to go see my mom on Saturday. She made so much progress on the checkered scarf that I taught her how to do in my last video. I have hardly made a dent in mine. To be fair, making a lot of scarves is not usually my biggest interest, and I really only started the project just because my mom wanted to learn how to do like a checkered pattern. So it's kind of a little bit more on the back end of some projects that are important to me. However, after seeing my mom complete it, I'm kind of feeling the pressure, and I'm like, well, the point was to have a matching checkered scarf with my mom, so clearly I just gotta rip the band-aid off and maybe get it done anyway. I kept it really chill last night. My partner and I watched It Comes at Night. I was honestly really surprised to look at the reviews on Letterboxd and see that a lot of people thought it was boring and that nothing happened. I think sometimes with post-apocalyptic movies, people really love to watch maybe more of like the direct horrors that cause the apocalypse in a particular setting. I enjoyed that this got into a little bit more of the human nature aspect of living through an apocalypse and the uncertainty around like who you can trust and who you can't. And the fact that, and I'm not going to give any spoilers, but there were so many things that were open-ended. Honestly, if you were to have lived through an apocalypse like this, things would have been this open-ended for you too. Like if you survived the things that they did. Like when stuff happens, you don't find out whether or not that person was lying. You don't find out, like you don't have resolution around those things. I definitely understand like why maybe some people wouldn't enjoy that or they think it wouldn't make like a good movie. But I thought that they did really, really well with it. I thought they handled the material really well. It scared me just enough. Let me say something really morbid, okay? Just bear with me. I think the people that would enjoy this movie are people like me who would not, how do I say this? I would not put in effort to try to survive an apocalypse of this magnitude. You know what I mean. And you either understand what I'm saying or you don't, and I'm so sorry. I am not going to be any more clear than that because I don't want to trigger anybody. I also don't really want to say that like out loud, like in a YouTube video. And I think that that's why I liked this movie, because all of the different mind games, all of the, am I going to trust you to steal my shit or not? Am I going to trust you can I even trust that what you're saying is even true? Like, I hate mind games like that, even just in regular day-to-day life. I can't imagine myself trying to deal with that while I'm living in a post-apocalyptic world where, like, you don't know anyone's motives, like, at any time. I could not deal with that. So I think someone like me would, if you feel similarly to me, I think you would enjoy this movie because it would kind of solidify some things for you. But if you are the type to be like, I'm going to survive and I think that I would do really well and I think I'd be a superhero, I don't think you would like this movie. I thought the movie was great. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It did to me exactly what it needed to, and I really loved it. But I'm all dressed and ready to go. I got a couple errands I gotta do. I need to go to the store and just grab some shower items. I'm almost out of shampoo, conditioner, and body wash and deodorant and things like that. So I need to do a little bit of a restock. I gotta grab some things for the cats while I am out too. And just because I'm out, I'm really feeling in the mood for a little coffee shop date today. I want to go bring a book, maybe a knitting project. Last night you would have seen me working on the eye sweater by Pixel Studio. You know it, you love it. It is literally like all over Pinterest. But even though I have been working on that, I am going to bring a knit project with me to the coffee shop today. I have some drops melody that I'm going to be trying for the first time. A few videos back, you would have remembered that I started the Fat Fur Hat by Spectacle Strick. I was using this beautiful lime green yarn that I got from the Hip Knit shop. And if you remember, I had a little bit of a crisis about it because I did not read the instructions properly, did not buy enough yarn the first time I bought yarn. Unfortunately, with the rising cost of tariffs and a lot of companies increasing like their shipping costs if you order from outside of the US, I couldn't justify ordering more yarn from this brand because the couple times I have ordered from them, it was already really expensive without even adding on the extra tariff costs on top of it. So I couldn't justify it. Not to mention it's still like a $12 to $15 ball of yarn, and I would have only needed to order one more. So that's where the Drops Melody comes in. I am frogging the old yarn that I use, and I will be using that on a future project. So I would really, really love to make the hat and get it started today. So I'm gonna go ahead and pack this yarn and the needles for it. I don't know if I'm gonna do any reading while I'm out at the coffee shop today, but I am gonna bring The Emperor of Gladness by Ocean Vuong with me. I'm about halfway through this, you guys, and it is so beautiful. I'm a little bit shocked at how many people I've seen say that they haven't enjoyed this book. So far, I'm finding it to be really touching. It's going right to the heart for me. I just love the way Ocean writes so much. This is a little bit of a slower read just because he writes so densely, which I feel like is pretty obvious and probably to be expected with the fact that a lot of his other books are poetry books, not necessarily fiction storytelling. Stories about chosen family are just, they always cut right to my heart, like every single time. Obviously, since I'm not done with the book yet, I can't really give like my fully formed thoughts. But so far I am really enjoying it, and I am glad that I am getting to jump into it now.